I grew up Catholic, so celebrating Christmas has always been part of my family traditions as a child and as an adult. And when you have a tradition like that, it gets down into your body. December feels different to me than any other season. Right around the end of the first week of December, it starts to kick in, this feeling of anticipation and expectation, a sense that something magical is about to happen. For me, this feeling is made up of a complex melange of embodied memories, sights and sounds and smells that call me back to snowfall and snow forts, cookies and cocoa and carols, twinkling lights, the delicate lead icicles that we carefully unpacked every year at Grandma's house. You can't buy them anymore because lead. And then we would hang them on the Christmas tree, one single strand at a time. The thrill of Christmas morning, the closeness of family, the mysterious mythic imagery of the Christmas story itself, and this promise it made to me as a young boy that peace and love are possible. Right around the first week of December, my body starts to signal to me that the world is now subtly charged with extra possibility for delight and meaning than was there just a week before. As an adult, there's a second feeling that arrives in my body, and this feeling kicks in somewhere around the end of the second week of December, and this feeling goes like this. Oh my God, Christmas can't be in 10 days. How is that even possible? How can it be the 15th? I haven't even started shopping. Oh my God. So this is the season of anticipation, and it is also the season of expectation. As parents, Suzanne and I felt very strongly the joy of passing on the magic of Christmas to our own blended family. And we felt the stress of passing on the magic. Financial stress. It's a lot when you have only a little. Our cars could also somehow sense every year when it was December, so one of them would like faithfully break down like clockwork every year. The time stress, so much to get done, the weight of our own expectations, wanting so badly to make something magical for our children. And then creating our own traditions, right? Tracking Santa on the NORAD radar on the internet, check. Carefully spreading reindeer food, which is carrots, oatmeal, and glitter, on the back patio. Arguing about traditions. You know the form that all parents have to fill out, indicating to Santa whether Santa is going to bring the presents on Christmas morning wrapped or unwrapped. Well, my family filled out one form. Suzanne's family filled out a different form. So how are we going to fill out the new form for our new family? That was certainly a magical conversation. Fortunately, children make some Christmas magic of their own. I will never forget one of our first Christmas mornings. The youngest kids were still maybe like age 8. They were little. And Suzanne and I had stumbled into bed around 3 a.m., as was usually the case on Christmas Eve, having just finished like our own responsibilities. And one of our daughters woke up at 3:30 in the morning, started shouting, Santa came, went racing downstairs. Her sisters woke up and followed her down. After that year, we made a rule. So this is a season of anticipation and expectation, of magic and stress. Increasingly, as an adult, I find that this is a season that reliably sort of creeps up on me in my busyness and then flies by. These days, the hardest thing about time is getting it to slow down. Of course, the commercial machinery of our culture only encourages both our busyness and our distraction. Whether or not you celebrate Christmas yourself, the culture is permeated with the messaging around selling us on this vision of a holiday that is all about buying and doing. Perhaps you've seen the now infamous Peloton ad, where the young husband surprises his delighted young wife with a $2,000 exercise bike for Christmas. And as a way of thanking him, and I'm not being ironic here, she creates a video chronicle of her magical year of getting up at 6 a.m. every single day to exercise. Now, I have nothing against exercise or bikes or people who like to exercise on bikes. But the entire 30-second ad with its images of these two beautiful young people with flawless bodies in an expensive home, flawlessly maintained, celebrating the wife's grueling and expensive regimen of making herself even more perfecter than she already is through relentless hard work and conspicuous consumption. There are entire essays to be written decoding this 30 seconds as a piece of scripture selling the gospel of late-stage American consumer capitalism. It is the gospel of self-perfection through hard work and buying things. Now, we have always venerated hard work in our culture, and there's nothing wrong with working hard as such, but the Protestant work ethic is practically the universal American religion. Whatever else we may all disagree about, hard work is the spiritual passkey to capitalist heaven. We so venerate hard work that we've let its ethos spill over into our non-working time, into a sort of relentless American cult of self-improvement. We say things like, I work hard and I play hard, as though the concept of playing hard is something to be admired and not really questionable on its face. Unitarian Universalism comes squarely out of this Protestant tradition. There's a strain in our religious tradition which equates moral virtue and spiritual freedom as the end result of a program of continuous efforts. For example, here's the great Unitarian minister, William Ellery Channing, our founder, in one of his most famous sermons, which is excerpted in our gray hymnal. William Ellery Channing said, I call that mind free, which conquers pride, anger, and sloth. I call that mind free, which masters the senses, which protects itself against animal appetites, which contemns pleasure and pain in comparison to its own energy, which permeates beneath the body, which passes life, not in asking what it shall eat or drink, but in hungering, thirsting, and seeking after righteousness. That sounds exhausting. I'm tired just reading that, right? Sometimes I call that mind free, which is reclining freely in a lazy boy or on the sofa. And I call that mind extra free if there's a chilled beverage in easy reach, right? Lift the glass high, watch it sparkle in the lights. Let the mind wander. Let your thoughts roll like the condensation running lazily down the glass. Let your being roam where it will. Claim this time for high purposelessness. And don't call it a stolen moment because it has always belonged to you. Enter the poet Ross Gay and his panegyric to loitering, lingering, loafing, lazing, lounging, lollygagging, dawdling, ambling, sauntering, meandering, puttering, dilly-dallying, and moseying. All of these words, he says, to me imply having a nice day. They imply having the best day. And taking one's time, Gay says, is one of the meanings of loitering, reclaiming one's time, wresting one's time back from those who seek to claim it for their own purposes. So Gay celebrates what I call a high purposelessness, a holy purposelessness, a moment of our lives that claims no justification for its being other than life itself. A moment that is content to just be. Right? There's magic there. There's magic in this kind of purposelessness and aimlessness in loitering. Take an hour of your life and empty it of purpose, of plan, of exertion, of intention. There's magic in just being. People say idle hands are the devil's plaything, but that is nothing compared to industrious hands. Right now, there's a guy hard at work in a marketing firm figuring out how to project Viagra ads onto the moon, right? He's a go-getter. But let there be instead a quiet moment of divine non-productivity, a moment accidentally experienced without possibility of gain or improvement. Let ego and ambition be momentarily distracted by an unexpected pleasure that does not require grasping or having or molding or managing. Let our expectations be diverted by the sound of rain pattering on the patio door or the thwap, thwap, thwap of a dog's tail as he waits patiently to be pet. the smile breaking across a loved one's face in a genuine moment of human connection, in a sudden peal of laughter, especially, says Ross Gay, in the sound of laughter. Let love exist in a moment disconnected from any other moment, and in that space of egoless freedom, we can reconnect to that in life which is gentler, more compassionate, more loving, more forgiving. Sometimes we find, especially during busy or stressful seasons, the holiday season, for example, that we have entered a state of habitual low-level crankiness with ourselves. We can be very demanding of ourselves, very unforgiving. We have our long lists of things that need to happen. We have so many expectations, real or imagined, that we have to meet. But lollygagging reminds us to take a break from our lists, take a break from getting things done, and instead to savor our time with one another. Divine aimlessness challenges us to accept this moment right now as its own end, as a free gift given by life. By taking the time, by taking our time to loiter in this moment, can we accept ourselves just as we are? Can we just be? And then perhaps, too, we can let others just be, accept them as they are, see the beauty that they are right in the moment without worrying about what comes next or what any of us ought to be. Is this a step toward being more loving, more tolerant, more patient, more kind? What a wonderful gift to give one another this season. Loitering can also be a pathway to personal growth. What is the caterpillar doing right before it turns into a butterfly? Just laying around, just loitering in the dark. Well, this is the season for darkness. The winter solstice, which is December 21st this year, marks the longest night of the year as we plunge deeper into the winter season. And it also paradoxically marks the turning towards light and warmth, because after the solstice, the nights grow shorter and the days grow longer. Many of the traditions that we people, at least in the northern climes, celebrate at this time of year, the bringing in of greenery, the stringing up of lights, the innumerable myths and stories of figures who die and are reborn, they are all ways of capturing the promise of the light through the long, cold, dark winter and holding it close until that promise is actualized in the spring. The solstice season itself is a time of expectation and anticipation. It's a looking ahead through the darkness to the return of light. Well, Laura Randall, in a 2017 article for the UU World magazine, encourages us to not be too hasty to look ahead to the light. Let us take time, she suggests, to loiter in the dark. She laments that artificial light has made true darkness a scarcity in our lives, which has disrupted both our sleep cycles and our spiritual selves. The sun never really sets anymore, she observes, on what we can do, what we can accomplish in a day. In the possibilities of darkness, she sees a spirituality that trusts that there is value in absence as well as abundance. In the darkness, there's an emptiness that creates space for mystery, for unknowing, and for transformation. Not the kind of transformation that comes from a grueling year on your Peloton bike, not that there's anything wrong with that, but the kind of transformation that comes from loitering with our own spirit, from loafing with our loved ones, from lollygagging with the great mystery, from laughing into the dark. J. Harvey, in his reflection today, recalls for us the line from Walt Whitman, "I loaf and invite my soul." Well, this holiday season, whatever holidays we celebrate, let us take our time. Let us take our time. Loiter with one another, loiter with ourselves, loiter a while in the dark. Let us loaf and invite our souls. May we find magic in sweet, non-productive laughter, in taking time with our loved ones, in emptying out the busyness and creating space for memory, for meaning, and for joy. Blessed be, may it be so, and amen.